So first and foremost, what do you remember about graphs or coordinate planes? Sorry about that. And equations of a line. You might remember x, y. You should remember that the equation of a line is y equals mx plus b, where m represents your slope, b represents your y-intercept, and your slope is also your rise over run, or your rate of change. Just a few things to start thinking about. So the main thing to know is that the point of intersection, where the two lines intersect or come together, is the solution, sorry, it's hard for me to type in here, to a system of equations. So the solution can be written as an ordered pair. Remember, an ordered pair is like 1, 2, -4, 3. Those are examples of ordered pairs. So you're going to have to figure out your x value and your y value. So our first example, they want to know the solution of these two equations. One thing that I notice when I look at the lines, notice the line is labeled. Do know that the line isn't solved for y equals, but I do see that they come together or they intersect at this point. If this is my origin, remember, this is my x and that is my y. So that means I go to the right, 1, 2. So my x value would be 2. And I go up 1. So my y value would be 1. So I would write this ordered pair as 2, 1. Remember, your x always goes first, and then your y. And what I'm going to do, I'm even going to label that point on the graph with the solution as well. All right, so what do you do if the equations aren't graphed nicely on a coordinate plane? Sometimes you're going to be presented with questions where you're just going to be given the two equations and you have to figure out what the solution is graphically. So first and foremost, is it in the form y equals mx plus b? If it is, graph both the lines in the coordinate plane. Remember that m is your slope, b is your y-intercept. Sorry. Can't spell intercept this morning. Okay. If your equation is not in the form y equals mx plus b, you have to solve each equation, and the main part is for y. So let's go ahead and look at examples like these. So our first system, it says graph the system of equations and find the solution. So I see my first equation. I have y equals -3x plus 2. In that equation, what is my m? And remember, m is your slope. My m is -3. My y-intercept, or my b, is equal to 2. So now I'm going to go ahead and graph this equation. So yes, be careful. I have to move up the page. I'm going to do this for us. So first and foremost, remember when we need to graph a line, I always start at my y-intercept, which is 2. My slope is -3. So instead of rising 3, that means I'm going to go down 3. So watch as I graph. I'm going to go down 1, 1, 2, 3, and I'm still going to go to the right 1. So this point 1, 0 is going to become 1 point on the line. Same thing, I'm going to go down from this point, 1, 2, 3, and go to the right 1. When you're drawing a line, you should at least graph 3 points in order to draw that line. And I'm going to go down one more time, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go to the right 1. Remember, when you draw your line, it needs to go through both points, through all points. And yes, you should be drawing yours with a calculator, with a ruler, I'm sorry. I put arrows on the end, and I'm going to label my equation. My next equation that I have, it's y equals 2x minus 3. What's my m? My m is 2, or my slope. My y-intercept is negative 3. So that means I'm going to start at negative 3. My slope is 2, so that means I'm going to go up 2, 1, 2, and over 1. Oh, look at, that's where they intersect. This point, I would say, is my solution. Let me finish graphing the lines, because the question does say graph the system. From this point, I have to go up 1, 2, and to the right 1. Now I have 3 points. I can go ahead and draw my line. And yes, you should be using your ruler. I'm going to do mine the best that I can. And yes, you can see I missed a point. You better not miss points. So my solution is right here. And I would say that that point is 1, negative 1. So make sure in your, that's not on here. Make sure you put for your y equals, or for your x equals 1, y equals negative 1. All right, now that we know how to graph and solve systems when they're given in the form y equals mx plus b, let's try it when it's not given in the form. Okay, for our last example, what we have to do, we have to put our equations in the form y equals mx plus b. So our first equation, we have 8x minus 2y equals 10. Our goal is to get this y alone. So I'm going to draw my line. I need to move my 8x. So in order to move an 8x, I need to subtract it from both sides. Notice how when I move it to the other side, I don't put it directly under the 10 because it's not like terms. I'm going to draw my line. 8x minus 8x cancel. I'm left with negative 2y equals negative 8x plus 10. In order to solve for y, I need to divide each side by negative 2. So I'm left with y equals negative 8 divided by negative 2 is going to give us a positive 4x. 10 divided by negative 2 is going to give us a negative 5. So now I have the equation y equals 4x minus 5. I need to identify my m and my b in order to graph it. So my b is negative 5 and my m is 4. That means I need to start, my y-intercept is negative 5. I need to start my first point at negative 5. Then I'm going to go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. Remember, you have to draw 3 points. I'm going to do the same thing. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, to the right 1. Now I have 3 points. I'm going to connect my points the best that I can. You should be using your ruler. Draw my arrows. Now, one very important thing, make sure you label your line with the original equation. So I'm going to label it with 8x minus 2y equals 10. Now we have to go through and solve 3x plus y equals 2 and put it in the form y equals mx plus b. So in order for me to do that, I need to make sure that I solve 3x plus y equals 2 and get it where it's y equals. So I need to move this 3x. In order to move a 3x to the other side, I need to do the inverse or subtract it from both sides. Again, notice how I'm not writing my 3x underneath my 2. Those will cancel. I'm left with y equals. My negative 3x is going to go first because look back at my y equals mx plus b formula. My x comes first. So I have negative 3x plus 2. I need to identify my m and my b. My b is 2 and my m is negative 3. So that means in order to graph this, I need to start at my y-intercept. My y-intercept is 2. And now my slope is negative 3, so I have to go down 3. 1, 2, 3, and to the right 1. Oh, I noticed that already my 2 points intersect. In order to graph this line, though, I need to plot 3 points. So same thing, I need to go down 1, 2, 3, and to the right 1. Now I'm going to connect my points. And I know I didn't connect my points very well. That's why you're using your ruler. I'm going to label the line with the original equation. And I see that my 2 points intersect at 1, -1. So my x equals 1, my y equals -1.